Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Greetings, friends. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha. Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Kalaye Sundarakaram Sadaika Priyadarshanam. Ajnana Nashakam Devam Sadgurum Muralidharam. Yasya Smarana Matrena Jikvayam Vardate Swayam. Mahamantrastam Bhajami Muralidhara Deshikam. Premamritam yo murali ninadaihi Shri Krishna rupena puravavarsha adyapi soyam muralidharakyo pushnati premna bhuvanam saharsham kirtite tu mahamantre tatra virbhuya tatshanam suprasanno bhavedyastam premika varadam bhaje murali mandita karakamalam munijana mohanam vyatyasta padam vanamala darinam prema bhakta mandala nitya kirtitam प्रेमिक वरदम आश्रयेऽहं नाम संकीर्तनं यस्य सर्व पाप प्रणाशनम प्रणामो दुःख शमनः तं नमामि हरिं परम हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय. Delighted to join you all in today's session of Answers and Beyond. Thank you very much for taking the time to join in, and a very big thank you to our Singapore Namadwaar for all the effort and initiative. We will take this question that has come from a friend in Singapore. This is how the question goes. How do I understand the purpose of my life, and who will show it to me? The purpose of life. In one sentence, if we need to give a very simple answer to this, the purpose of life, my life, your life, and every life is just one. This is really what our scriptures assert. All Mahatmas reiterate this. When I first heard this, when I heard Sri Swamiji say this, it left me quite surprised, because how can there be one purpose to all lives? Because to me, it meant something very different. I'm sure it does to many of us too, because there can be friends in the world who say want to attain excellence in a particular field. Somebody who wants to acquire a particular qualification in the field of education, or somebody who wants to attain a particular position in life, a position of great repute or power. One person may want to become very wealthy in life. There could be another friend who wants to serve the community, serve the people, serve all life forms. A very noble goal in life. So how can there be just one purpose to all lives? That's because I look at personal ambition at that level and think that they are obviously different. There's as many people, there's going to be as many ambitions and goals in life. And I confuse that with the purpose of life. It is when Sri Swamiji explained it, quoting the scriptures and the Mahatmas, it was clear that that indeed is the fact. The purpose of every life is in fact just one. Not just the lives of human beings, but all life forms, all jivas for that matter. This is how our Shastras put it. I will break it down into examples so we are able to understand this clearly. Let's take a look at all life forms, everything that's there around us, from the tiniest of beings to the most evolved, sophisticated being, human being. How does life go? If you take a honeybee, the honeybee would begin a day by flying from one flower to another flower. It would collect the honey and it would bring it safely back to the hive. It does that. It does that every single day. The honeybee does what it does if we were to look at it in a philosophical sense, because it derives a certain amount of pleasure or happiness by doing that. That honey, the taste of that honey, gives it that sense of pleasure, which is why it pursues it. Take the example of a wild animal that would hunt its prey. It does it, why? Because it has to satisfy its appetite. There's hunger. It has to survive. So it has to hunt and eat, and that's how it's going to happen. And when it eats, when that appetite is satisfied, it gives a certain sense of pleasure, certain sense of peace, happiness. That is what drives it to do it. That's survival. Appeasement of hunger gives that happiness. Take a plant, for instance, a green plant. We all know how it works. We've learned it in botany. Photosynthesis, that's how they do it. That's how they survive. So they need sunlight. And this is an experiment, I'm sure most of us have done it, especially students of science. If you take a plant, you put it in a dark room, and then make a tiny hole in one corner through which sunlight can come, just a little bit of sunlight. The plant, over a period of time, will bend towards the source of that sunlight. Why? Because it needs the sunlight, phototaxis as they call it, and that's how it's going to survive. But if you look at it in a philosophical sense, the plant grows towards the sunlight because it derives a certain sense of happiness by surviving. That's how it happens. Even a person, a human being, let's say, is slave to a bad habit. Maybe it's not the right example, but I use it to drive a point here. Even if a person has become an addict, he or she does it because they derive a certain sense of pleasure from it. That's how they conceive it. It may be harmful, but it gives them a certain sense of pleasure. That is why they've become slaves to that habit in the first place. And everything that we do in life, every pursuit, some of us may pursue power, some of us may pursue money, some of us may pursue relationships. We surround ourselves with good people, family, friends. We do all of this. We do everything that we do because we derive a certain sense of happiness from it. That is why we do it. If we look at it from this point of view, it would make sense as to why our scriptures and Mahatmas say that everybody's purpose, ultimate purpose, is the same. They say that pursuing this happiness, at this point of time we will stick to the word happiness, but we will evolve it to a more accurate term a little later in this discussion. Everybody pursues this happiness. In whatever it is that we do, this is ultimately what we seek. Knowingly or unknowingly, this is what we are after. And therefore, that is why it is said that the purpose is the same for all. Makes sense, isn't it? Makes absolute sense. All right, we will take it to the next step. When we talk happiness or joy, what is my expectation? I want to be happy. That's all I'm thinking at this point of time. But if I put some deep thought into it, if I'm given a deal, okay, you're allowed to be happy on any given day 80% of the time. But 20% of the time you would have to be sad. Mandatory. Don't have a choice. Will I agree to it? Not sure about you, but I will not sign such a deal. You know why? Because in my mind, this is how I would look at it. Even if I'm going to be happy 80% of the time, that 20%, that sorrow, is going to ruin this 80%. I will end of the day be left with that bitter taste. I don't want it. This is how I would think. This is my expectation, not reality. After all, life is a mixed bag. There's happiness, there's sad, there's joy, there's sorrow. That's how it works. But if you ask me, if I would sign up for such a deal, that 80% happiness is guaranteed, but then 20% I also have to be sad. I will not accept it. Not willingly. If that's the situation, I don't have a choice, but I will not accept it. I want happiness, in other words, and that happiness should be never ending. It should be continuous. There should be no break at the 80% mark. It should be 100%. Always it should be continuous, eternal. That is my expectation. I have it. I have that expectation. There's also another expectation, isn't it? If I'm told that yes, you can be happy, but here and there, when you don't expect it, randomly there would be some sorrow that will be mixed. Here and there. It's going to happen. I will not accept that as well, because I want to be happy and just happy. That's it. You can't mix it with anything else. No adulteration. No, I will not accept it. No dilutions. That's what I would say. But that's not how reality is as well. I want happiness, in other words. I want happiness to be continuous, and I want happiness that is not mixed with an iota of sorrow, with a droplet of sorrow in it. That is my expectation, isn't it? Our scriptures and Mahatmas are referring to exactly this. They also say that there is that happiness that you expect, which will never end, which would be eternal, and which will not be mixed with a droplet of sorrow. And the name of that happiness is really what is God realization or self-realization. This is all they say, and that is the purpose of life. I'm not going to sound pessimistic or negative, but this is reality if you look at it that way, friends. Let's say I have the perfect relationship with a person in life. Perfect in every sense. You can't point a finger at anything that's negative there. But because all of us and everything is bound by the law of nature, there will come a time when that perfect relationship would have to end as well. If it's my station, I have to get on first, or if it is that person's station, that person would have to get off the train. And what would happen at that time is that very source of happiness would become the source of sorrow as well. That's how it happens, isn't it? And this is true of all persons in the world, isn't it? If we project it and imagine, there would always come a time when it would have to end, because everything is bound by time. That's how nature works. So, where will I find that which is eternal, which will never end, and which is not mixed with that sorrow? Not even a tiny little bit of it. It can only be found in that which is beyond time, which is not bound by time. And that is God. That is that self-realization that is spoken of. This is really what Mahatmas say, the scriptures say, and that is why they say that it is the purpose of all lives. This is the purpose of creation itself. The entire universe functions only for this purpose. It is a common one to all. And who will show it to me? Who will show it to me? The one that will show it to me is the Guru. That is the meaning of the word Guru itself. A beautiful word in Sanskritam, one of the oldest languages in the world. And what it means is that Guru is the one that dispels the darkness of ignorance and bestows wisdom. Wisdom, that happiness. At this point of time, we're going to switch it to this better word. As I told you we would. We will call it as Anandam. A beautiful word in Sanskritam, a very unique word. You know why? It does not have an opposite, no antonym. Because when you say happy, there's sad. When you say joy, there's sorrow. There's a high, there's a low. That's how it works. But Anandam does not have an opposite. It is just Anandam. Probably the word that I want to use in English is bliss. It's just bliss. That's it. Continuous. Just that. Never ending. Not mixed with anything else. When that is really what I am expecting. Everything that I pursue in this world is towards that. What the Guru does is he shows me that. Let's say there's a person that was searching for something that he had lost. A passerby asked, "What are you doing?" "I lost a gold ring. I'm looking for it." Frantically he was searching. He says, "Did you lose it here?" "No, I did not lose it here." "Then why are you searching here?" "It's because it's very bright here, I'm searching." The passerby, the sadhu said, "You have to look for it in the right place. The right place is where you lost it, which is near your home. So go there and search, which is where you find it." So this is what the Guru does. We have come from it. We are looking for that bliss, that anandam, and all of these things, which also gives us happiness, which also gives us pleasure. No two thoughts about that. But it's limited. So we are looking for that unlimited, eternal anandam, that bliss. So the Guru points us to the source. He says you need to look for it in that place, the source. And that is where you will find it. And that is the purpose of your life itself. That is who a Guru is. Who points us to the journey within. Because birth after birth, the thousands of births, I'm very used to going outward in an external way, looking for everything in the outside world. And this pursuit has led me through this endless cycle of births and deaths. And when the Guru takes me onto his fold, all he does is that you're looking for the right thing, but you're looking for it in the wrong place. You need to look within. He points me in that direction, and that is who the Guru is, and he is the one that shows me the purpose of my life. Guru Maharaj would say very beautifully, in his own unique style, he would say, nowadays, the trend is really to do something innovative, isn't it? To do something new, something that you've never done before. Never keep repeating the same thing over and over again. This is what people do. Even when you go for vacations, you try to look for these exotic destinations, places that people have never been to, the exotic, adventurous experiences. To try and be new is the buzzword, isn't it? Guru Maharaj would say that. If you really want to do something new, trust me when I tell you this. Even if you go to the tallest peak in the whole world, even if you go and touch the bed of the ocean, at the point where it is the deepest, even if you go and reside in the moon, even if you go and live in a valley in the most dense jungle where there's no human being around, no matter what you do, let me tell you one thing, it is not new. And you know why? Because in some janma, in some birth, in the thousands of births that you've taken before this, you would have done this before. You would have been associated with the tallest peak, the ocean bed, the most dense forest, some way or the other, which is why you are going back to it in this birth. It is not new, you've done it already. There's one thing that is absolutely new, something that you've never done, not in any birth that you've ever taken. It is to find the way to God realization and self-realization. Do you know why I say it? Swamiji asked. Because if you have achieved it, if you have traveled on that path and if you have actually achieved it, you would not be sitting here today. You would not have taken this birth. The very fact that you have taken this birth means this is the one destination that you've never been to. So that is what we really need to do if we want to do something new, innovative in life. Take that journey towards God or the self, and that is the purpose of life, said. I'm reminded of this very interesting conversation that Swamiji had with a young friend, a school-going kid. Came and asked Swamiji lots of conditions attached to the question. He says that I was asking people, what is the purpose of my life? And everybody gave me these long, big answers, lots of philosophies, lots of stories. I could not understand anything. I want to know the answer from you, Guru Maharaj. But the answer has to be just one sentence long as the question. Can you give me an answer? What is the purpose of my life? Without wasting a second, Swamiji gave a spontaneous reply. He said, to find the answer to this question is the purpose of your life. Thank you so much. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Sadguru Nath Maharaj ki Jai. Thank you for your patience. Thank you very much.